Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm Crafty Kathy, the owner and creator of Kit's Vintage Farmhouse in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I am so happy and thankful that you stopped in to craft and spend a little time with me today. I made some gorgeous high-end Dollar Tree DIYs using those boxes or crates, whatever you want to call them. They have 3 different sizes and I used a little bit of each one. So let's don't waste any more time. Let's jump on in. For DIY number 1, we are going to need 4 of the large size boxes, and I'm going to show you on the back of these, the little tag just says wood box. And all 4 of these are going to be the larger ones. So what we're going to do is just glue these together, glue 2 of the boxes, and just try to find the most even sides. You know, Dollar Tree is notorious for not having the most square sides. So I just found where they were the most even, and I put them together like so with hot glue. And I'm just going to take my little Dollar Tree clamps and clamp them so that they'll be nice and even. I set those to the side so that they can stay in those clamps for a few minutes, and I'm going to use these wood planks. These are the ones that come 6 in a pack, and they're the longer rectangle shape ones, and we're only going to need 4 of these. I'm just going to take the edges of these and put a little bit of hot glue, like a little bead, all the way down through there, and just glue them together side by side, and we're going to do that with all 4 of these. I want to welcome you to my channel if this is the first time you've ever been here. And if this is the millionth time you've ever been here, welcome also. I am so glad and thankful that each and every one of y'all stopped in here. I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We would love to have you as part of our family, and we always have room for more. And please leave me a comment. Let me know which of these DIYs is your favorite. And if you would, hit the like button because that really helps support my channel on YouTube. So now these aren't going to stay together with just this little bit of hot glue down the sides. So what I did was grab some of those large popsicle sticks that you get from Walmart. They're only, I think, $2 or $3, but mine last for a really long time, and they're good for projects like these. I'm just going to put hot glue down them, and I'm going to slap a couple of those on there. It's going to give us that extra support we need. Now what we're going to do is take and glue our pieces together exactly like I have them here. I'm using hot glue for video purposes, but if you really want this to hold up for a good long while, I suggest that you use some good wood glue. I like to use the Type Bond Quick and Thick, but I've heard from a lot of people that wood glue from Dollar Tree is excellent and it dries really fast. I keep meaning to pick it up and I forget every time. Now, you know as well as I do that that's not going to hold up. That little old tiny bead of hot glue is not going to hold this whole piece together. So I'm going to add some more popsicle sticks here just for that extra support. And I did have to stand my piece up just so that you could see it good and I could get a better hold on what I was doing here. So I just take these smaller popsicle sticks that I have, and I just placed a couple of those on each side. I did have to cut a few little pieces down to make it fit right, and I'll be the first to tell you, if you look at this from the back, it's not pretty, okay? But we want it to hold up, and if somebody flips this around and looks at it at your house, you might need to question if they need to be there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you, but here in the South, we have those nosy old relatives that want to come over and flip your stuff around and look at it and just touch it and go on. And I'm like, oh my goodness, do they do this everywhere in the world or is it just in the South? I don't know, but let's move on. So I'm going to take this Dollar Tree mirror, and the only one I had was this simple round one. But just imagine you can use those beautiful ornate ones that they have that have the really pretty shapes to them and stuff. And the possibilities are endless here. I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on each side, and this fits right on each side perfectly. It just lays right on the top. And yes, I did just use hot glue to put it together. but I would still use a E6000 or a really good wood glue if you want this to hold up for a good long while. Now we're going to stain this, and I'm going to use the Waverly Antique Wax. And those of you that watch my videos often know that I only have probably about 25% of the actual wax in my bottle, and the rest of it, 75%, is probably water, because I like mine really watered down. I like the look of it, and it's all just personal preference, however you like yours. But I just let everybody know each time, because normally it's not this light of a color. It's just that mine's really watered down. And the reason why I didn't put the wax down before I put it all together is because it's always best for wood to stick to wood. And if you put down like the antique wax, it's going to be harder for it to stick. You're going to get less of a good stick. Even with hot glue or whatever you use, it's just not going to stick as good. So anytime that I'm working with wood products, I like to go ahead and put them together and then put my wax on. And you can see here, I'm just being nonchalant and just literally just slapping it on there. And then I just use that baby wipe to kind of wipe off the excess and just kind of even out the color tone a little bit. And I went over this whole piece and put the wax over every little nook and cranny. I guess this Waverly Antique Wax is my favorite of all the waxes. I just love the color, and it's like it always evens out, and it's always beautiful, whether you put it on dark or you put it on a lighter. It just always turns out perfect every single time. Once I got it all applied and wiped down, I ran over it with my heat gun just where it would be about 75% of the way dry, and then we're going to move on to our next step. I got these little drawer like label filing cabinet looking things off of Amazon. I'll leave them in the link in the comments below in case you want to grab some. And I'm just simply going to put 2 of these down on the bottom, and I flipped them upside down purposely. That way my daughter could hang her necklaces on them. And I grabbed 2 very small pieces of my vinyl, and I'm just going to cut that out where it's going to fit in there. You could literally just use cardstock, paper, whatever on this part. It's just the only thing that I had was my Cricut vinyl, so that's what I grabbed. And these have little screws where they go in the sides, very teeny tiny screws, and I just went through and put both of them down in the wood. The next thing that I did is grab my pentart wax paste. I get this from Milton's daughter, and I'll leave her information in the comments section and down below in case you want to get any of her products. This is the bronze color, and I love it. I just kind of went around my little mirror to give it a little splash of color. I'm going to use the IOD Apothecary label stamps. These are my favorite stamps they've ever came out with. And also, I get these from Milton's daughter. So if you want to try out any of the products that you see me use, any of the high-end paints or these stamps, anything IOD or pentart, I'll leave all that down below so that she is easy to find. I couldn't think of what to put in here, and I wanted to label something, so I simply just put an A and a B. And then I got the idea to take a little bit of that wax paste again, the same bronze color, and I just kind of went around the inside portion of the label and almost just kind of muddied it up a little bit with that bronze color, because I love to highlight with it, and I think anything you use it on, it takes it up a notch, and it's so beautiful. And that's all there is to the first DIY. I hope you like it as much as I do.
She thinks I'm a little lazy, I think she's a little crazy. We like summer and we like spring, watching wrestling in the ring. She ain't shy, she speaks her mind, tough as nails and smooth as wine. We burn hot as kerosene, baby, we got our own thing. She ain't skinny and I ain't tall, and that don't bother us at all. I run naked through the yard. She flash every police car, drinking.
The second DIY is equally as beautiful as the first one. We're going to take 2 more of the large size boxes and we are going to glue these together just like we did the first ones, except for this time I used wood glue. I will be using this one outside and I want to make sure that we get a good strong hold here. So I'm using my Type Bond Quick and Thick and I just kind of rubbed it in. It doesn't take much of this stuff at all to get a good strong hold. And then I just used a little bit of hot glue, making sure that I don't let the two touch because it will cancel each other out and they won't even work. The next thing that I'm going to do is grab one of these signs, and this one came out around Valentine's, but you know these come out all the time, and there's so many options. You don't have to use this exact sign. You can use this piece of wood that's also from Dollar Tree, any type of wood or MDF, just whatever you choose to use, you do you on this one. I took the little hanger off the top because we're not going to need that. And I'm just using the ivory color Waverly chalk paint. I don't want it to be a perfect color. I just kind of want to slap it on here. This is just going to be a background color, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So it really doesn't matter how messy, as long as you just get that color on there. And I prefer to do white or an ivory color like this when I'm using paint as a background. The next thing that I'm going to do is grab some drop cloth. I love to use drop cloth. I've had this piece of drop cloth for probably 3 years. I love the way that you can make just a small cut in it and rip it, and it just rips perfectly every time. But if you don't have drop cloth, don't worry. You can use any type of fabric. We're going to do a heat transfer. I was going to use this craft fabric that's kind of like a white burlap, but I was afraid that it wouldn't work. So what we're going to do is flip our sign over, and we're just going to use some hot glue, and we're going to glue our drop cloth down to it. Now this doesn't have to be perfect by any means. You just do it as though you're wrapping a present, or just get it on there the best way you can. Just try to make it a good tight hold. As long as the front of it looks pretty like this, you're all good. I got my heat transfer from Temu, and the directions on the back were crazy. They made absolutely no sense. So I'm just kind of guessing with what I'm doing here. And I'm just kind of using what I've used in the past, and we're going to work with that. So what you do is you lay your piece down, and I love this. I only paid like $1.85, I think, for this piece, and it's a good size. I believe it originally is supposed to go on a shirt, but I'm going to put it on my drop cloth, and I like it that way. Now, what I did was just kind of end up using my little Cricut heat press at around 385 to 400, because at first I had it on 385 and it just wasn't enough. And this thing still didn't turn out perfect, but hey, number one is it came from Temu and the directions were not good, like I said. So I was still satisfied for the way that it came out, and I'm glad I was able to save my purchase. And as long as I'm happy with it, that's all that matters. I had to keep pulling it up because some of it would stick and some of it wasn't. And I just did the best I could, but you'll see how it ended up. When I finally got it done and pulled that top piece of plastic off, a little bit of the words were kind of like distorted looking, but that's okay because I just used a Sharpie and just kind of fixed them. And I'm happy with the way it looks. I grabbed this folk art home decor wood tent, and the color is called walnut. I really like this one because this one is a dark color. And, you know, I use my Waverly when I want a lighter color. but I really like this color too for certain projects. So all I'm going to do is, just like I did with my Waverly wax, I just go over my whole piece and then I just kind of even it out with my baby wipe. This color turns out beautiful every time also. So now I'm going to take my little wood boxes that are already attached together, and I just use the hot glue for video purposes, but I highly suggest, if you want this to hang on for a long time, to either use E6000 or a good wood glue. Now mine is actually going to go outside, so after I put the hot glue on it, I'm going to take some screws and put them through there to make sure that it holds on really well, because I'm going to have plants in this. After I got my pieces glued on, I set a few pieces of wood on the top just to give it some weight so that it would set up really well. And I have this resin mold that looks like a sunflower to me. I like to have molds I like to make them up ahead of time. That way when I'm in the middle of a project and I just want to grab one really quick, I have that option. And I'm going to take the IOD paint in the color called Carnival Red. I love this color because when it dries, it's like a muted red and it's so pretty. And I'm just going to kind of nonchalantly paint this. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means. I don't want to achieve a full coverage here. I want some of that white color in the background to kind of peek out. So I'm just kind of doing a messy coat, I guess you would say. Then I'm going to take that beautiful bronze wax paste that I love so much, and I like to apply this with my finger. I'm just going to go all the way around my flower and just kind of rub it in, and I'm going to give it the chance to get in some of those little nooks and crannies where that white is showing, but then again, I still want some of that white to shine through also. Then I'm going to take my Type Bond Quick and Thick. I'm going to put a little glob of that kind of in the middle, and then I'm also going to take some hot glue and put it on the outer skirts of the flower here and place that right in the center of my beautiful little planter. And to finish it off, I'm going to use this hanger that I absolutely love. I get these off of Amazon, and I leave them linked down below and in the comments. They're the easiest hanger to put on any project, and all you have to do is just barely tap it in. You can even put it on crooked, and your picture is still going to hold straight. That's my kind of hanger. With DIY number 3, we're going to take 2 of the large size, and we are going to pop the back out of one of them. And this is very easy to do. I just held it and used my thumbs to pop the back out. Make sure that you save that back piece because you can use it just as a wood panel. What we're going to do is set the one that I popped the back out of on top of the other. And I'm simply going to just use a little bit of hot glue to glue it down. If any of your glue kind of runs out the side, just use your fingers to kind of wipe it away. Then I'm going to take the DIY color called Beadboard. It is my favorite off-white color. It's not such a stark white color. It's more of an off-white, but it's still bright enough to be gorgeous. And I'm just going to put a coat all over the front and the sides of my box. I set my box to the side, and I'm going to use this beautiful decoupage paper that my friend Brandy from the DIY Struggle, she creates this herself and she sells it on her website. I'll leave that down in the comment section, and I also leave it in the description box below in case you want to go get some. It's very inexpensive. I just pick which piece that I want. I'm going to put a little bit of water in just like a small little cup, and I'm going to use the fine end of a small paintbrush and go around the section where I want to tear away. I don't need much of this tissue paper, and you just get it wet with the end of your paintbrush and it literally just tears away. I always prefer the teared look instead of like cutting it with scissors, because to me it just looks more natural and it always looks better that way. I just lay it down where I'm going to place it at, and I'm going to use my favorite method to decoupage just about anything down, and that is an Elmer's glue stick. For this particular project, I am going to use the type that's washable, but I do have this permanent one. Anytime that I want to decoupage something and I want it to be more permanent, I use that one. But this purple one is sufficient for this. You just place it down all over the surface where you want your tissue paper or your decoupage paper to go, and you lay it down. I start off in the middle and just smooth it out with my fingers. And then I'm going to grab my little hand sander. I love this thing. And I'm just going to go all the way around and get the excess off. And it's going to tear off very easily. This is by far the easiest way that I have ever found to decoupage anything. We're going to put some feet on this, and you can use these little logs from the Dollar Tree. There's so many options. You can use the Jenga blocks. I'm going to use these little Christmas trees that I get around the Christmas season, and I always get a bunch of them just for this reason, so that I can use them for little feet in all of my projects. I'm just going to use the hot glue for this just like before, but if you want a good permanent hold, just make sure you use a wood glue. And I'm going to place 4, one on each corner. And I didn't show it in the video, but I went back and painted those feet white also. I'm going to take my ink pad in this beautiful, I think it's called Stone Gray is the color, and it's by Archival Ink. It is a permanent ink pad, and I get these off of Amazon. I'll leave the link down below in case you want some. And I just like to go around and kind of highlight my project because it makes it so beautiful. And that's literally all I had to do to this project, and then style it. I hope you like this one as much as I do. The last DIY is really not even a DIY. It's just a little hack. You can take either one of those small sized or the medium. I'm going to use the medium box, and then I'm going to use these small jars. They come in a pack of 4 from the Dollar Tree. I use these to put like my plant clippings in. You guys know that I have really gotten into plants, and you can just take your little cuttings where you want to grow a new one, put some hot glue on there, and voila, bada bing, bada boom. You got yourself a little thing to put your cuttings in. If you stuck with me through all of today's video, I just want to thank you so much for stopping in and crafting and spending a little time and chatting with me. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you will, let me know which one of these was your favorite. If you're not much for leaving a comment, just leave me a heart emoji, because it really does help out my channel. Also, I would love if you would subscribe and stick around and become a part of our family. There's nothing I'd love to have any more than you here with me every time I put out a video. My videos are every Monday and Thursday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And right now we are on summer hours. That's why we're doing 7:30. Guys, I love every single one of y'all, and I will be seeing you back here real soon, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Did you know that if you're on a phone or a tablet that you can click on my face right there to subscribe to my channel? You sure can. Also, I have some more videos right here that have very similar content, and if you click on those, when this one's over with, it'll take you right to that one. I love you guys. I'll see you soon. God bless you and your families.